What's up guys, Panic here, otherwise known as Panic Picnic. Today I'm going to show you another one of my decks that I've made after the release of the new expansion that just came out. I've been having a whole lot of fun with it in ranked mode, and I'm deciding to share my fun and joy with you guys. Now, this deck's going to be a lot different than what you're normally going to see in the ranked mode. It's a little bit off meta, but on meta at the exact same time. It's like, my deck, however, is not fully complete because I don't have all the full-fledged cards, but I can show you what I have and what additions you can make to make it better. As you can see, my deck is obviously called Not My Cards, and I'm going to show you why. So, the reason, one of the key cards in this is actually an odd priest. And as you can tell, I'm going to be running Baku the Moon Eater. This is actually... this deck was actually inspired because I created Baku the Moon Eater, and I've used Baku the Moon Eater in both the creation, both in my my odd warrior and in an odd paladin deck. Well, my odd paladin deck, I wasn't having a whole lot of fun with it. I felt like I didn't have a whole lot of late game with it, and it in general didn't feel like it was a whole lot of fun. And I was like, well, I just spent 1,600 dust on Baku the Moon Eater. I want to be able to get my value, and I want to be able to get my value for the dust I have. In other words, I want to have fun with my 1,600 dust. I want to make something with Baku the Moon Eater. In other words, I made this priest deck. So, just a heads up, the reason we're picking Baku the Moon Eater for this deck more than anything is because of the boost it does to the hero power. Normally the priest, as you know, his hero power will only heal for 2. And this one, when you have Baku the Moon Eater, it's going to heal for 4. The reason this is going to be important is because you won't have a whole lot of like real things to keep you alive or to sustain you in some instances. Maybe you just have bad luck, and Baku the Moon Eater is going to offset it, and then you'll see why into the deck. So I'm basically running all cards that make me steal cards from my opponent's class, or my opponent's deck, or my opponent's hand. So I'm running Crystalline Oracle, which has a death rattle of copying a card from your opponent's deck and adding it to my hand with its death rattle. I'm running 2 Mind Visions to put a copy of a random card from your opponent's hand into my hand. I'm running 2 1-mana Northshire Clerics. Whenever a minion is healed, draw a card. I'm running 2 Power Word Shields to give a minion 2 health to draw a card. This is also mainly for a little bit of deck cycling, as well as sometimes you never know what you're going to get with the +2 health, and it can help out it as well. I'm running Psionic Probe. I'm only running 1 of them because, like I said, I don't have every card in the deck, and I'd like to have at least duplicates of some other cards. I get to copy a spell in my opponent's deck and add it to my hand. I'm running 1 Curious Grimroot. Like I said, I maybe would run 2, but like I said, I'll talk more about what I do additional later. And I get to look at 3 cards, and guess which one started in your opponent's deck to get a copy of it. I actually really like this card because not only when the game is going on you get to see like how your opponent's deck is, and even if you do get it wrong, you know what, like if let's say your opponent may have a card and you're like, oh man, if I was running this deck, I would totally run this card. And if they don't have it, then it's like, hey, you know, you don't have to worry about it. And if you do have to worry about it, you get it, which is always great. I'm running 2 Giant Wasps. Mainly, this is just to offset what I don't have, and this is also to offset for a bigger minion. Also, when you play a Giant Wasp, with its stealth mechanic, you may force a person that you're playing against to pop something to try to get rid of it, like for its stealth mechanic. Like, they may pop like a Holy Nova or something like that if you're lucky, because this is going to be able to kill one of their bigger minions or a top minion that you just can't get out of the way. I'm running 2 Gilded Gargoyles. I actually really like this card in this deck, and I would actually recommend 2, and it's not a card I'm going to recommend changing. Mainly because of its death rattle. It's add a coin to your hand. Once you pop 2 of them and you do get that coin, it really does offset the cost that you're paying to steal one of their cards. In other words, the 2 coins I'm going to be getting from this card offset my using of Mind Vision, so basically I can get Mind Vision for free. I'm running 1 Ironbeak Owl because silence is always a good tool. You never know when you're going to not need it, and also it's a good odd card. I'm running one mind control tech. I wouldn't recommend running two. One is pretty good as itself, and it's a battle cry to if your opponent has 4 or more minions, take control of one at random. This is pretty good. Like I said, you're still adding the extra randomness to your deck as well with it. Also, it's got decent attack, and you actually might get something fun with it. Also, like I said, it's to keep you alive when you are constantly healing yourself because you've got your Baku. I'm running 2 Shadow Word Deaths because this is an odd card and it's a destroy minion with 5 or more attack. As you'll see later, I don't have a whole lot of heavy hitters in the end, and if someone plays something that I'm gonna have a hard time getting rid of or having a hard time copying, just get rid of it. Like, it's just a lot easier that way. I'm running 2 Stormhill Defenders. I like this because of its battle cry more than anything. It's to discover a taunt minion. Sometimes you'll get something that's really, really high, which is good because it can help you into that late game. It'll take you from that early to mid game into that late game. For instance, if you get, like, let's say a Lich King or anything else that is a little bit of a heavy hitter, and that can totally add to your hand and make your deck a little bit stronger. I think this definitely offsets one of the weaknesses. I'm running 2 Thought Steals, copy 2 cards in your opponent's deck and add them to your hand. Like I said, this deck is called Not My Cards, so I'm really not playing a whole bunch of my cards other than to steal their cards. I'm running 2 Unidentified Elixirs, give a minion 2/2, grant a bonus effect in your hand. Main reason I'm running this is not so much for the buffing, it's really for the bonus effect in your hand. You can really get some really good ones. Some of them is like summon a minion with 1 health remaining, or it's like just summon a copy of a minion with just 1/1. It's great. You never know what you're gonna get. I'm running a Vivid Nightmare, choose a friendly minion and summon a copy of it with, actually I think this one gives like a Divine Shield, but it's like some of the effects you get are pretty good. I'm running 1 Vivid Nightmare, choose a friendly minion, summon a copy of it with 1 health remaining. I actually like this card. Not so much for the using on my minions, but mainly on the using of the enemy minions. Like, if you ever like get something you like and you're able to play it from your, but you're able to get from like their deck from one of the cards you've taken, you can just play this on it, and then you have that +4 hero power to heal it up, so it can have up to 5 HP, which is really, really nice, which kind of offsets that damage you're dealing to it. Also, you get a copy of it, so I actually played this once, and I actually had 2 Yasiras on the field, and it was great. I'm running 1 Faceless Manipulator, choose a minion and become a copy of it. As you can see, I'm not running Ysera, and this is a great card for it. You can just choose a minion and become a copy of it. You can get some really high cost minions, and it has a lot of value with this. I'm running 1 Grumbashi Berserker, and the main reason I'm running this is for 2 reasons. While it is a free card, because you don't have to cost anything to dust it, I really like its ability whenever this minion takes damage, gain +3 attack. But also, a lot of people know about this card, and that's one of the main reasons I'm running it, is the second this card hits the field, your opponent looks at it and goes, oh shit, I know what this card is, I've got to do something about it, or it's got to become a beast. I know he's going to get healed by +4, I've got to commit some resource to get rid of this. This is really just kind of like a scary thing, it's like kind of like a feint, like I'm putting this in the deck to just burn someone's resource, and if it does give me some value, then it not only does it surprise me, but also I can actually do a whole lot of damage with it if things work out in the end. I'm running 2 Holy Novas, deal 2 damage to all enemies, restore 2 health to all friendly characters. This, like I said, this is really just some board clear, because you don't really have a whole lot in this deck other than this one and my 2 Shadow Word Deaths. I am running 1 Quartz Elemental. I think this one's just, I really like this. I wouldn't really run 2. I mean, I could, but it's like I really wouldn't know what to take out or put back in. And the reason why I'm running this one is because of its abilities. Like, it can't attack while damaged. But since I heal for 4 HP, I can always make this thing attack. This thing's never going to take that much damage that it won't be able to not be able to attack during a turn. I just pop 2 mana, pop 2 mana, and I'm able to make this thing attack because I'm healing it up for 4. So they've got to commit a lot of resources, or they've got to commit like resources, whether it be cards or card attacks that they already have on the field, to make this thing go below that 4, and that's one of the main reasons I'm running it. And like I said, the card that makes this thing so good is my Baku the Moon Eater. And the main reason, like I said, I'm running Baku the Moon Eater is because it makes this meme deck work. And like I said, the main reason why is because you're able to heal yourself for 4 HP, and that, like I said, will help drag it out into the mid, into the late game. Like I said, this deck does have a few weaknesses, but not a whole lot, surprisingly, and it works quite well on, to be honest, a lot of things, which is quite surprising. Like, I was surprised when I was playing this. And especially on the lower ranks, this works quite well, because some people will just flat out attack the Quartz Elemental, or they'll overcommit to the Gambashi Berserker. And that's some of the reasons, like, that's in there. Also, if they don't know how to field boards, you've got Holy Novas as well. A big strength, like I said, of this deck is it is relatively cheap. And the main reason why I'm saying that is outside of the 1600 Baku the Moon Eater, which is kind of like the meme and kind of one of the cards for this expansion. A lot of people are going to be crafting this, so they're already gonna have this. So you should kind of have this. So that kind of offsets some of the cost because you can use it in a lot of decks. But this is a blue, so this is 100. And a lot of these cards, like I said, you're being able to use for low cost. This is 40. So I'm only running, like I said, I'm only running one of these. Maybe you could run more if you have them. This is probably one of the most expensive cards, really, because it is that 400, and I did just open this. You don't really need to, it's not mandatory that you run this, but running at least one is always nice. Plus, it is a good little 3-drop. I'm running this, like I said, I'm running 2 of these, because, like I said, for commission of resources, also to get rid of some heavy hitters. You don't really need to run it, but it is, like I said, it's an addition I made. This, like I said, it's cheap, 40. Like this one, I'm only running 1, wouldn't recommend. This is 100. This, a lot of people are going to have, or at least create, because like I said, you can use this in a lot of decks. 40, like I did get this one. This is that 400, choose a friendly minion, summon a copy of it with 1 health remaining. You don't really need to run this, but it does give you a little bit of quality of life assurance for it. This is a card that I would recommend in the deck in terms of if you do have 400 to spend, you can get it in Classic. You can do a whole lot with this card, and in terms of how metas go, this is actually one of the cards that will always be in it or somewhere around it, because you can just do a lot with it. This card, like I said, you get for free, and this is 40. So overall, it's not the most expensive deck in the world. You can make it more expensive if you do have the resources. But overall, you're getting a whole lot of enjoyment out of this deck. Like I said, this deck does have a few weaknesses, and one of the weaknesses I would definitely say is if you're going up against a warrior, especially if you're going up against an odd warrior like a Baku the Moon Eater warrior. The main reason why is they'll run a couple of cards that you really won't be able to use, such as deal damage to an enemy based off the amount of armor you have. Well, you're not generating armor, so when you use a Thought Steal and you are getting those cards, or if you are using your where's that other card? But if you are using, like, copy a spell on your opponent's deck and add it to your hand, that's like the only real weakness to this one, because you're just not able to use those cards. And especially for me in my warrior deck, I'm running at least I'm running 2 of the ones that damage based off armor, and sometimes with that the more expensive 400 one that destroys your armor and deals it to all minions, you'll be running that. But you won't be able to use those cards, so just a heads up. That is like really the biggest one I can definitely say. Other than that, this does have a lot of strength against other against a lot of other decks that I've played against, especially against other priests. And the main reason why is because you're effectively doubling the resources you really do have. Sometimes when you do get in your Thought Steals or in your copying spells, you'll get the one where you do 3 or less damage to destroy a minion, which is pretty good. You're actually getting extra resources back. Also, you with this one, what makes it so, with this deck that makes it so good is it outside of the enemy really won't see it coming more than anything. I mean, they'll see a Baka the Moon Eater and they're like, okay, well, what are you doing with this deck? I know that there is another priest deck that kind of uses Baka the Moon Eater that is a little bit awkward to use. I mean, it is a little more prevalent, but when they see this, it's going to be definitely something they won't see coming. Another big thing that I really like about it is a definite counter, in my opinion, to a lot of things you'll see like in Swarm decks, more than anything, because I am running these mind control techs. I do have a little bit of taunt going on with my 2 Stonehill defenders to get these taunts rolling in as well. Also, when an enemy does have a bigger minion, I've got the Shadow Word Death. I also, of course, have the heals from my Baka the Moon Eater to heal me up for 4, so I have to commit resources to that. I have my Gambashi Berserker so I can constantly keep hitting the smaller minions. And in general, like, I've also got the mind control tech. If they've got 4 minions on the field, I can take control of 1 at random, which is always pretty nice. Also, like I said, one thing I really enjoy, especially in this expansion, like in how the meta I feel is going, at least in my terms, I think you should at least have 1 poison minion in your deck. And the main reason why is because a lot of people, especially with Warrior and especially the prevalence of taunts in this one, and especially with the prevalence of other cards, namely like the Lich King I've seen in a lot of decks, sometimes just being able to hit them and kill them once is pretty good, and they'll do a lot to be able to prevent those. And a lot of them sometimes even blow like some bigger spells. If you've got the Lich King on the field, sometimes they'll just blow a Holy Nova just to get rid of like 1 giant wasp, which is always really nice. Also, like I said, a big strength about this one is its unpredictability. But it's also a downside at the same time, because you don't even know what you're getting, especially when it's turn 1 and you've got a Crystalline Oracle on the field and you're like, well, what kind of decks are these people running? Are they running something meta? Are they running something a little off meta? You don't really know, and that's really the only downside I can definitely say off of that. That's really like the biggest one, is because you don't know what you're getting. It's a little bit of RNG, but I think that adds at least a little bit of fun in it. Also, another really big downside of this is you are spending mana to get cards, and that kind of sets you back a little bit. And because it's like I'm spending 1 mana to be able to play a Mind Vision, but I don't have a card. I can't play, like, for turn 1 I'm playing a Mind Vision, but it's like, or even if it's like turn 10, it's like, well, I'm gonna play a Mind Vision, now I only have 9 mana, and oh wow, I got a 10 cost minion, I can't play it, or I'm playing other cards to offset that. Also, what's pretty good that I'd say, outside of that, like spending mana, this does have a benefit to it as well, with your Thought Steals, is you're able to copy 2 cards in your opponent's deck and add them to your hand. So your hand's always going to be pretty full, even though I do have, like, as you can see, I'm running 16 3-cost minions. It's a lot. I know it's a lot. But with these Thought Steals, you're able to offset that. You're able to offset the amount of cards you're spending, because your hand will always have resources to spend. Also, with these 2 Northshire Clerics, when a minion's healed, draw a card, you're able to constantly keep drawing. The last negative I will definitely say about this deck is you got to make sure not to overdraw, especially with these Northshire Clerics, and you're running Holy Novas and you've got other cards in general. Just make sure you don't overdraw. That's really the biggest thing. I've almost overdrawn a few times, but that's really about it. I mean, that's what happens when you just don't manage and you're still kind of rusty to Hearthstone. Other than that, like I said, it does scale pretty good into later games, because with early game you do have, of course, you've got a lot of 1-drops and you have a lot of 3-drops, so your early is pretty good. The late game, the reason why I say it's not too bad and it's actually kind of okay, is you have your Giant Wasp to offset some bigger minions with that stealth. Again, you are, of course, probably going to take a hit, but you'll be able to at least get some minions off the board as well. You have your Ironbeak Owl for silences, which is really nice. Late game, if they try to swarm the board, you do have your Mind Control tech with your Battle Cry. You do have 2 Shadow Word Shadow Word Deaths, which is pretty good if they decide to play heavier minions. So you've got 5 or more attack, boom, they're gone. So I think that's also pretty good. Also, you've got these Stonehill Defenders. Again, like I said, it's a lot more RNG based as well. You just got to discover more of a later game. You just got to hope you discover the right minion at the right time. You've got your other cards that will steal their deck, and hopefully, like I said, RNG and previous bin broad be in your favor. You'll be able to get those heavier minions, and you'll always have something to play. And of course, you get your minions +2 and you get your bonus effect. And you've got, of course, you got your Grumbashi Berserker, which is always fun. Other than that, like I said, I've been having a whole lot of fun with this deck. I really wanted to just share it with you guys more than anything. And this is one of the decks I've been playing a whole lot of, and like I said, I've been having a whole lot of fun. This deck can easily be expanded upon by adding another Crystalline Oracle to get to just get another Death Rattle in your hand. It could be easily added by, of course, maybe changing Vivid Nightmare out with other things, or maybe just removing Giant Wasp for other things as well. Or you can just add more, like you want more Psionic Probes, you want to add more spells. It all depends on the quest you're running, which I think is really fun. Other than that, like I said, my name is Panic Picnic. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and just tell me how I'm doing on this channel. And like I said, I will see you guys in the next video, and if you subscribe, I will see you guys at the picnic table. See ya! Have a great day!